With all the bad rep that teachers get in America these days, they could use some good news. Well, it turns out that Americans, a majority of Americans, support the nation's teachers by large margins. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, a poll was taken recently by Huffington Post and YouGov that asked respondents about their children's teachers and teachers around the nation in general. Okay, this is good. Now, 83% of respondents, according to this poll, said that they believed that their children's education was going well. Now, I might disagree. I don't think our education system is great, but that's a different discussion for a different time. Only 3% felt that the teachers themselves were doing poorly in the case of their education. So people generally say, yeah, my teacher's doing a good job. All right, great. Now, what about pay? What teachers' pay is kind of an important thing. Now, here in America, we don't pay our teachers very well. And I think the majority of Americans understand that. Quote, 52% believe that teachers are paid too little, while 28% felt that teachers earn the right amount, and only 8% felt that teachers' salaries were too high. Well, interesting. So a majority of Americans say that we're paying our teachers way too little. Now, what about appreciation? Now, that's one thing that is also pretty important when it comes to your job as a teacher. Well, it turns out that more than half, 52% of respondents, responded that they believe that teachers are also underappreciated in their communities, by their communities. And in their own communities, 43% felt the same way to 36% who said that teachers were treated fairly. Now, like I said, this is interesting. Here in America, I agree we don't treat our teachers fairly, and we don't also appreciate them enough. I mean, they have a hard job. They have a very difficult job. You know, they watch our kids for 8 hours a day. They come home. They grade papers, often buying school supplies. And shoot, we've seen stories and done stories of where teachers will go the extra mile and bring in snacks and things for hungry kids, buy school supplies out of their own pocket because we cut the budgets for school so much, just in order to have their kids be able to learn and engage better. And that's what makes a great teacher. So I'm actually surprised that it's so low, that people think that they're underpaid and underappreciated. But I think that's because a lot of people don't understand the idea of what our money's going to and how hard teachers actually do have it. And I think that's something that we as a nation, we need to kind of take a look at and spread the message of awareness. We're like, hey, you know, our teachers actually are underfunded and underappreciated. A lot of our money tends to go to things like sports stadiums for the schools because they're revenue generators. Because a lot of our education budgets, like, for example, in Kansas, have been cut to the bone. So, I mean, an education campaign about education would actually be incredibly beneficial.